Now, for many Indians, the monsoon once meant childhood memories. Paper boats floating in rainwater, hot cups of tea, crispy pakoras, and the hope of an unexpected school holiday. But today, the arrival of the monsoon brings something very different: concern. And at the center of that concern is a weather phenomenon called El Nino. Now, El Nino may sound like a distant scientific term, but its impact is felt much closer to home, right in our kitchens, our electricity bills, and our monthly household budgets. So, what exactly is El Nino? It's a climate pattern that develops when the waters of the central and eastern Pacific Ocean become warmer than normal. These warmer ocean temperatures disrupt global weather systems, including the Indian monsoon. Historically, El Nino has been associated with weaker and delayed monsoon rains in India. This year, weather agencies around the world are warning that El Nino conditions are strengthening. At the same time, India is already facing rainfall deficits in several regions and an intense heat wave. The biggest impact is likely to be on food prices. A weak monsoon affects agricultural production because nearly half of India's farmland still depends on rainfall. When rains are delayed or insufficient, farmers struggle to sow crops on time. Yields decline and the supply of food becomes tighter. The result: higher prices for everyday essentials. Vegetables like tomatoes, onions, chilies, and cabbages are already becoming more expensive. Fruits, edible oils, pulses, and other food items could also see price increases in the coming months. For the average family, that means a larger grocery bill every week. But food is not the only concern. As temperatures rise during El Nino years, electricity demand also increases. More households use fans, coolers, and air conditioners for longer periods, pushing up power consumption and electricity costs. Farmers, meanwhile, are forced to pump more groundwater to compensate for poor rainfall, increasing the demand for electricity and diesel. The impact doesn't stop there. Lower farm incomes can reduce spending in rural areas, affecting businesses that depend on rural demand. Slower economic activity can eventually influence jobs, wages, and overall consumer spending. Even the Reserve Bank of India is keeping a close watch. Rising food prices and weather-related disruptions could push inflation higher, affecting borrowing costs and economic growth. The good news is that India is better prepared than it was a decade ago. Irrigation coverage has expanded, reservoir levels remain relatively healthy, and agricultural infrastructure has improved. But much depends on what happens in the months of July and August, the two most critical months of the monsoon season. If rainfall recovers, many of these risks can be contained. If it doesn't, families across the country could feel the impact through higher food prices, increased utility bills, and tighter household budgets. So, while El Nino begins thousands of kilometers away in the Pacific Ocean, its effects travel all the way to the Indian dining table. And that is why this year, every drop of rain matters, not just for farmers, but for every household across the country.